Have you ever stared at a scoreboard, Jane, and felt like it was lying to you? Like the numbers just couldn't possibly reflect the chaos you just witnessed?
A few times in my life, Joe, but almost never during a Monday night football game in 2025. What we saw in the first half between the Eagles and the Packers, it felt like a time warp, a throwback to a leather helmet era of mud and grit. 30 minutes of football between two NFC powerhouses, two supposed offensive juggernauts, and the score was 0-0.
0-0. It was the first scoreless first half on Monday Night Football since 2009. In an age of explosive plays and quarterback showcases, we got a defensive slugfest in the freezing Wisconsin air. Forget a potential NFC championship preview, this looked like a back alley brawl. Two teams just trading body blows, with neither able to land a knockout punch.
And it wasn't for lack of trying. Let's lay out the facts of that first half, because they tell a story of pure frustration. The Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs, came out looking like world beaters. Their first drive was a monster. 16 plays, grinding down the field, eating up over 8 minutes of the clock. It was methodical, it was powerful, and it was pointless.
Completely pointless. They get all the way into the red zone, the promised land, and Jalen Hurts, a man known for his composure, scrambles for a first down. But as he's going down, Packers linebacker Edgerrin Cooper channels a pickpocket and just punches the ball out. Fumble. Packers recover. That entire beautiful, soul-crushing drive erased.
And that set the tone for the entire half. It was this bizarre symmetry of failure. Both teams suffered a key offensive line injury. Both quarterbacks fumbled. Both offenses just stalled. Jordan Love and the Packers couldn't find any rhythm whatsoever against a swarming Eagles front. Their new trade acquisition, Jalen Phillips, was everywhere.
Which brings us to the human story here, the story of the two quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love. This was billed as a showdown of the NFC's elite, and instead, we saw two guys just trying to survive. Think about the pressure on Jordan Love. He's at home, trying to avenge a playoff loss from last season, and his offense is just inert.
And just before the half, it looked like he might finally break the deadlock. The Packers get into field goal range, a chance to put something on the board. And what happens? The Eagles' defense, which had been bending but not breaking, comes crashing in. Nakobe Dean gets the strip sack, Jalen Phillips recovers the fumble, and the stalemate is preserved. It was a perfect microcosm of the half, a moment of opportunity swallowed by brutal, relentless defense.
It was poetic in a painful sort of way. You could almost feel the collective groan from Green Bay. The frustration of watching your team move the ball just enough to give you hope, only to have it snatched away at the last second. That's a different kind of football agony.
So here's my big question, my deep analysis of this weirdness. Is this just a fluke, an anomaly born of cold weather and two great defenses? Or does this tell us something deeper about where these teams, and maybe the league, are heading?
I think it's the latter. For Green Bay, it exposes a concerning truth. When Jordan Love isn't in rhythm, when their offensive line is banged up, that whole machine can grind to a halt. They looked lost. And the pressure from guys like Jalen Hunt, who had a sack on the opening drive, was just relentless.
And for the Eagles, it's almost a good news, bad news situation. The bad news is their high-powered offense, with Saquon Barkley, was held completely in check. They looked conservative. Hurts wasn't taking deep shots. But the good news? Their defense is championship caliber. They can win ugly. They can go on the road into a hostile environment and drag you into the mud with them.
It's a fascinating dynamic. As we're recording, the second half has just begun, and Philly finally broke the curse. Jake Elliott nailed a 39-yard field goal after a 10-play drive to make it 3-0. So we have points. But the game still feels like it's balanced on a knife's edge.
Exactly. That field goal feels less like an offensive triumph and more like a desperate gasp for air. It was a conservative drive that ended by settling for 3. This isn't the Eagles team we've come to expect. It tells me they know this game isn't going to be won with flashy plays. It's going to be won by the team that makes one less catastrophic mistake.
It makes you wonder what we value in football. We talk endlessly about quarterback ratings and fantasy points, but there's a raw, primal beauty to a game like this. A game of inches, of survival. It's a reminder that before it was a game of spectacle, football was a game of attrition.
It is. It's a chess match where every pawn is a 300-pound lineman. As this game unfolds, the question isn't just who will win, but what version of themselves will they have to become to do it? Will Hurts and Love find their rhythm, or will the stalemate continue until one of them finally cracks under the suffocating pressure?
It's a throwback battle in a modern age. We came expecting fireworks, but what we got was a war of wills. And sometimes that's even more compelling. This podcast combines verified reports with expert analysis and narrative storytelling. Some dialogues may be dramatized for clarity, but all facts are sourced from credible media.